Hey everyone, today we're diving into the exciting world of Path of Exile 2, especially now that early access is live. While only 6 out of the 12 classes are available right at launch, don't let that fool you, there's already plenty to explore. Each of these classes comes with 2 possible ascendancies, which means we're looking at a ton of potential for different builds right from the start. Whether you're into massive damage, tanky setups, or support roles, there's a class for you to experiment with, and the ascendancies just add to the fun by giving you even more options to fine-tune your playstyle. So, let's talk about the current state of these classes. With such a limited selection in early access, it's all about finding which class works best for you and really digging into the unique strengths they bring. Some are definitely a bit stronger out of the gate, while others might need more time to shine as we get deeper into the game's development. In this video, we'll rank these classes based on their current power and flexibility, helping you decide which one to try first and which one might need a bit more patience. Stick around and let's break it all down. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking classes in Path of Exile 2. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ranger and Warrior. Let's talk about the B tier classes in Path of Exile 2, the ones that don't quite make the cut to the top but can still hold their own. These are the classes that might need a little extra effort to shine, but when you learn their ins and outs, they can still pack a punch. So, buckle up, we're diving into the Ranger and Warrior classes. First up, let's take a look at the Ranger with either a bow or a two-handed weapon. Now, who doesn't love the idea of keeping enemies at a distance while raining down arrows? It's a tried and true tactic that works well in pretty much any ARPG. But here's the thing with the Ranger, while they have some solid elemental variety and can dish out serious damage, their skill set feels a bit one-dimensional. Most of their attacks are focused on single targets, which on one hand is great for bosses, but on the other hand, if you're stuck facing a swarm of enemies, it can feel like you're bringing a bow to a fight that needs a shotgun. And let's not forget about how overwhelming the maps can get. You'll often face loads of enemies popping up all over the place, and while the Ranger has some tools for handling it, they don't have that clear the room vibe you might expect from some of the other classes. So yeah, while they're great at boss fights, when it comes to general map clearing, they might leave you wanting a little more. Now, shifting gears to the Warrior. This one's a bit tricky. Whether you're rolling with a two-handed weapon or a mace and shield, the Warrior has a lot of potential, but it feels a little underwhelming at first. Melee builds, in general, seem to be struggling a bit in Path of Exile 2, especially with boss fights. And let's be honest, those boss encounters often feel like they're made to be more of a walk in the park for ranged builds. I mean, if you're a melee warrior trying to get up close and personal, it can feel like you're getting hit from all sides while your damage output is just meh. But don't completely write off the Warrior class just yet. Sure, it might not be the most flashy or the easiest to pick up, but there are definitely some solid build options, especially once you get to the later stages of the game. The Titan and Warbringer ascendancies? Now we're talking. These builds can turn the Warrior into an absolute juggernaut. But here's the catch, you're going to need to grind your way through the early game to get there. If you're in it for the long haul and enjoy the feeling of becoming an unstoppable force later on, then the Warrior might just surprise you. Speaking of surprises, it's important to remember that both of these classes can be quite fun if you know how to tweak their strengths. The Ranger may not have the best area of effect AoE abilities, but you can still work with what it's got by choosing the right skills and focusing on your positioning. A well-placed shot can clear enemies if you plan it right. It's just a little more about patience and positioning than brute force. For the Warrior, if you're willing to stick with it, those big slow hits pack a serious punch, and the feeling of dominating enemies with a massive mace is undeniably satisfying. It might be a slower burn, but once you unlock those juggernaut-like abilities, it can make all the difference. You'll feel like the boss, smashing through waves of enemies with ease. So, in conclusion, while the Ranger and Warrior classes might not be the easiest or most effective out of the gate, they both have their moments. They require a bit more thought and effort to truly excel, but if you're up for the challenge and want to experiment with different builds, they can still hold their own in the world of Path of Exile 2. Just keep an eye on those boss encounters. Sometimes it's better to play it safe with a ranged character, and other times you'll need to charge in with the Warrior's raw power. It's all about finding that balance. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Monk and Witch. Alright, let's dive right into the Monk and the Witch classes in Path of Exile 2. These two characters might just be your next obsession, but they both come with their own unique set of strengths, weaknesses, and, let's be honest, plenty of quirks. First up, we have the Monk wielding the trusty quarterstaff. Now, this class is lightning fast and absolutely bursting with potential if you know how to play it right. You can zip around the battlefield, attacking from every angle, and it's genuinely one of the most fun classes to play, especially when you unlock some of its advanced abilities. The fluidity of movement and rapid strikes are just chef's kiss for those who love fast-paced combat. But, and it's a big but, the Monk is squishy. If you're not careful, you're gonna end up in the middle of a mob with no way out. So, mastering the Monk isn't just about landing those hits, it's about knowing when to get out and when to strike. It's a delicate balance, but if you get it right, pure magic. Then we have the Witch, who can wield either a rod or wand. If you enjoy keeping your enemies at a distance and causing some serious chaos, the Witch might be calling your name. This class is all about control, dealing damage through a variety of ailments and debuffs that just wreck enemies over time. But what really sets the Witch apart is its ability to summon minions. These little guys aren't just there for show, they'll tank damage, distract enemies, and even help with dishing out some punishment. However, let's be real, keeping them alive can be a bit of a pain. Early on, your minions are squishy as heck, so you'll find yourself constantly needing to revive them. Not the most thrilling part of the Witch, but hey, it's worth it once they start stacking up and wrecking foes for you. The Witch's minions are definitely a fun aspect of the class, but if you're looking for more control, the Witch can also lean into some seriously fun build options. Think about it. As an Infernalist, you can deal massive damage while playing with fire and explosions, or if you're into more dark and twisted magic, the Blood Mage path lets you manipulate life and death in the most satisfying ways. These playstyles give the Witch a lot of versatility, making it an absolute powerhouse in the right hands. The learning curve, though, can be a bit of a hurdle, especially if you don't get those minions working early on. Now, you might be thinking, okay, the Monk sounds like a speedy whirlwind of fun, but why should I care about the Witch? Well, let me tell you, the Witch brings an entirely different vibe. Where the Monk's focus is on fast strikes and hit and run tactics, the Witch is more about the long game. It's like playing the patient predator. You weaken, you control, you outlast. And those summoning mechanics, they add a whole new layer of strategy to the game. You're not just going in guns blazing, you're thinking about how to position your minions, when to resummon them, and how to manage your resources. It's a class that rewards careful planning, but when you get it right, it's incredibly rewarding. But let's be clear, while the Witch's ability to summon minions can be game-changing, it's also one of its biggest frustrations. In the early game, you're gonna find yourself constantly battling to keep those minions alive, which can feel like a grind. And when they die, you're stuck in that annoying loop of resurrection. But once you get past that stage, the Witch turns into a full-on powerhouse. So, whether you're drawn to the Monk's chaotic speed or the Witch's sinister control, both classes offer something incredible for players willing to put in the time and effort. The Monk's all about precision and the movement, while the Witch is a bit more strategic, offering plenty of opportunities for long-term planning and playmaking. Both require a bit of a learning curve, but if you're ready to dive in, you'll find each one can lead to some seriously fun gameplay. The classes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Mercenary and Sorcerer. Let's talk about some of the top tier classes in Path of Exile 2, shall we? If you've ever wondered which ones are really worth your time in the early game, and trust me, there's no shortage of choices here, then stick with me because we're diving into the S tier contenders. These classes are not just solid, they're absolute game changers. First up, we've got the Mercenary. Now, this class is like that friend who's always ready for a fight, and somehow manages to look super chill while doing it. The Mercenary doesn't just bring heavy damage, it also brings a toolkit of ailments and debuffs with its unique ammunition types and grenades. Imagine dropping grenades that cause chaos while raining down bolts from a distance. It's a huge win for anyone who likes to keep enemies at arm's length while still melting them. And the best part? You've got two powerful ascendancy choices in Witch Hunter and Gemling Legionnaire, each with its own way of cranking up the damage. Let's just say this class doesn't need to get close to do its job. It excels at staying distant and hitting hard. Then there's the Sorcerer. If you're into spells that can light up the entire screen, then you're gonna love this one. Sorcerers are basically casting their way through PoE 2 with some serious firepower, and trust me, they're in a great spot right now. Whether you're chaining lightning or laying down massive firestorms, these casters bring the pain with every cast. Sure, there's a bit of a learning curve with managing your mana, especially early on, but by the time you hit the late game, you'll be casting spells without a care in the world. It's the kind of class where you get to feel like an unstoppable magical powerhouse. And let's not forget, the Sorcerer's damage numbers are just insane right now. Now, the fun doesn't stop there. We've got some big hitters that come into play when you're looking for maximum efficiency, and the Mercenary is definitely leading that charge. Its ability to deal with a variety of situations, whether that's wiping out mobs or handling those tough bosses, is a testament to just how versatile this class can be. And as the game progresses, you'll find that your options only get stronger, with more ways to increase your damage, control enemies, and leave a trail of destruction behind you. The Sorcerer, on the other hand, is the ultimate choice for anyone who loves high-impact spells that pack a punch. You're not just casting for the sake of it, you're looking to dominate entire screens full of enemies with ease. The raw potential for spell damage is what really sets this class apart. You'll be able to melt bosses, clear dungeons with ease, and generally feel like you're playing an RPG where you control the magic. The joy of managing a mana pool becomes a minor issue when you're casting firestorms that scorch everything in your path. Plus, the gear customization can really make your spellcasting even more potent. If you're into ranged combat and want a class that lets you outmaneuver enemies with ease, the Mercenary will keep you entertained for hours. There's something satisfying about keeping distance and still being the one to dish out all the damage. Whether you're setting traps, laying down grenades, or hitting enemies from afar with your crossbow, you're always in control. The strategic positioning alone can make you feel like a true mastermind, while your enemies are left wondering how they got hit so hard. But let's not forget about the Sorcerer. Yes, it's got a lot of raw power, but there's a certain magic to the way the class feels. Once you get into the groove and manage your mana pool efficiently, you'll feel like an unstoppable force. And the ability to chain spells together, especially with the right gear and setup, is just incredibly satisfying. Whether you're locking down enemies with arcane magic or burning them with flames, every encounter feels like a spectacle. All in all, both the Mercenary and the Sorcerer are top-tier classes that can make a huge difference in your Path of Exile 2 journey. They're powerful, they're fun, and they'll keep you coming back for more. So, if you're looking to carve a path through the game with some serious style and even more serious damage, these two are definitely your best bets. What's your favorite way to play? Let me know in the comments. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.